What is up everyone on YouTube, and today we're going to be talking about the data mine leaks for ELVIRA as well as for Dragon King SHARUN with their skills and their imprints fully leaked. Now these leaks were found on Reddit, so you guys can find the full post in the description box down below. But let's actually talk about ELVIRA first. So you know already that she's a Thief Capricorn. She's the same as Winter and the very recently released limited unit, Blooming Litica, who was a bit of a disappointment. You guys can see these are her imprints. She has attack for the team, which is always a nice one, and she has effect resist for herself as a thief, which signals she is another effect resist using thief, kind of like ML Kayron. So let's actually look at her skills. So this is going to be her S1. It is a single target attack that has up to 100% chance to dispel one buff if you actually max this out at +4. And you can soul burn this for an extra turn. So another extra turn unit with soul burn. That means that Moon Bunny Dominion will get her S2 proccing if you actually soul burn this. It seems like an interesting spell. It's just a 1 buff dispel, and it doesn't really seem that strong at first, but if you look at her other skills, you can see why it might be good. So her S2, it's a passive effect resist increase going up to 50%, and she also gets 27% from her SSS imprint, so she gets pretty much 77% for free, and even more from Awakenings if you actually get them. I forget if you get some from Capricorn Thieves. I don't think you do, but if you do, you get extra. And you're going to see when you're attacking, you cannot trigger a critical hit. Now, the secondary effect is when she is immortal, she will decrease the amount of fighting spirit gained by the enemy by 100%. And after you use a basic attack on the caster's turn, when she is still immortal, she'll activate Exterminate as an extra attack. Now, Exterminate is going to be an AoE attack that can activate once every 2 turns and inflict Beguile. Now, this is very good because S1 can actually dispel a debuff, so you can dispel maybe immunities to actually land that. And also because this debuff is one of the best in the game. The only unit that has this is Lua, and Lua is very strong because of this debuff, and of course other reasons, but this debuff makes it so that you don't really need to deal damage, because if you land this on tanky units, this will do a ton of cleave damage to their entire team, which makes this debuff, in my opinion, one of the most broken in the game. Also, besides that fact, if you just look at her secondary effect, when she's immortal, she'll decrease the amount of fighting spirit gained by the enemy by 100%. You can see she is an extremely hard counter to Navy Captain Landy and Abyssal Euphine, because you make it so they can't activate their S3, which is their, win the game now skill. Usually, Navy Captain Landy and Abyssal Euphine, if they don't get their S3 off, they lose. So by having a unit that can prevent their fighting spirit gained is actually insane. It's kind of like Bellion in a sense, where you're like preventing fighting spirit instead of like souls, albeit there is a bit more of a condition for this one. But you're gonna see it's very easily activated because of her S3. Now her S3 is an AoE attack that dispels all buffs, already very powerful, and also will put unhealable and grant immortality to herself, ELVIRA, for 3 turns. This will penetrate the target's defense, and when the target is a hero, this damage scales with the target's current health. And this is very nice because you're going to use this at the start of battle. So Abyssal Euphine and also Navy Captain Landy, they're very healthy all the time because they have lifesteal, and you're putting that unhealable on them so they can't heal anymore, and you're also doing a ton of damage because usually those 2 units have a lot of health. And you can just see that ELVIRA is kind of just a hard counter to these 2 units because they've kind of been taking over the entire meta for PvP. And I don't really blame Smilegate for releasing a unit to hard counter those 2, because I'm kind of sick of this lottery, slot machine meta. And with ELVIRA out, I think she'll be a hard counter to both of them and kind of stop Abyssal Euphine and Navy Captain Landy just taking everyone over. So this unit will completely destroy them on defense teams, and also completely destroy them in RTA. You'll have to ban her if you want to play them, which I think makes her a very powerful unit to pull for because she counters 2 of the strongest PvP units in the game. Now, you have to make sure your immortality doesn't get stripped. So what you're probably going to want to do is you want to build her very high ER, very tanky, and I think just medium speed, because Abyssal Euphine and Navy Captain Landy, the 2 units you want to go before, they're very slow usually, like definitely below 200, 180 speed. And because of that, ELVIRA can be kept at pretty low speed, probably just like speed set, main stat speed boots, and just full ER and full health, so you make sure you don't get killed and your immortality doesn't get stripped. You actually don't need as much health as ER or effect resist because you have immortality for 3 turns, so just putting her on a full effect resist build will make her very effective, because she just looks very powerful, and all of her damage will actually come from this Beguile debuff, like I mentioned, because it's so strong and it just scales with the enemy's health, which makes it a very powerful debuff. Now this is her artifact. It is going to be flat ER increase, so if you have her actually max awakened, if you have her S2 maxed out, and then you have her imprint maxed out. With her artifact on, you're getting pretty much more than 100% effect resist for free, which is insane. So you get flat effect resist, which will make it very good on her already. You're also going to see after using an attack, except for a basic attack, when you don't crit with it, you'll remove 20 souls from the enemy. That's freaking crazy. So basically, when you activate your S2, you'll remove 20 souls. I think this will be extremely powerful on her, especially for World Arena. Now, obviously, if you're not playing World Arena and you're using her for Guild Wars, it doesn't really matter as much for like if you're using her on offense. But in World Arena, this is going to be very powerful because Navy Captain Landy, Abyssal Euphine, their fights go on for a long time. They use souls very well. ELVIRA looks like she wants to fight for a long time as well on the field, so removing souls is the best way to prevent the enemy from taking multiple turns and just, you know, bursting you down. So I think this is going to be very powerful on her. Might be good on other units as well, but this artifact seems to be very strong. If you guys don't have this, you can also use her on Bastion of Hope for more effect resist. That is probably a good option as well. So I think ELVIRA overall is going to be a very, very powerful unit into Fighting Spirit units. Obviously, you're going to want to pick her into Abyssal Euphine and Navy Captain Landy, who are very meta right now. And I think she's going to be a must pull because those units are just crazy everywhere. So even though she's only made to counter 2 units, I think you still need to have her because those units are just super meta everywhere right now and just taking everyone over. So yeah. Next, we have Dragon King SHARUN, kind of the surprise Moon Knight unit that is coming out. She has imprint for attack similar to ELVIRA, and then she has concentration for effectiveness. So we can actually see her skills now. So her S1 is a single target attack, goes up to a 40% chance to stun, which is not that great. I think it's the same as mid Chloe, and you can soul burn this for 100% chance to stun. So pretty strong stun. Nothing too crazy though on the S1, it's just RNG. Next we have her S2. This is the huge passive ability that's gonna kind of make her what she is. You can see at the start of the battle, dispels all debuffs which prevent movement, which is stuns and sleeps from everyone. And at the end of someone's turn, when an ally is inflicted with a debuff that prevents movement, you will increase combat readiness of Dragon King SHARUN up to 30% and give Cascade to all allies. And Cascade is an undispellable buff that after attacking, you will deal 2500 fixed damage to the target, and this would be dispelled after attacking. This is insane. 2500 fixed damage will shit on evasion units, destroy squishy units like Spirit Eye Selene as well, Roy Mustang, right? And just a very powerful buff, especially because you can put this on like a tanky team, and your Soul Weavers and your Knights will do a ton of damage with this. And this activates once per turn, which is every turn, which is crazy. If anyone ever drafts units that CC or crowd control you with stuns and sleeps, she's a very powerful unit, right? Because Cascade just looks super insane. Now you can't pick her blindly because you have to pick her into stuns and sleeps. So anything with like S1s or S3s with stuns or sleep seems very good. I think she'd be very good against like SC Arrowell because you're preventing Arrowell from using her S3, which is a very powerful skill. And even units with sleeps such as Death Dealer Ray, she's going to be insanely strong because of this S2. Now you'll get her S3, AoE attack that will decrease buff durations by 2 turns before 100% chance to inflict class debuff. For Thieves, Warriors, Rangers, and Mages, it's decreased attack, and for Knights and Soul Weavers, it's decreased defense. And you'll decrease the combat readiness of everyone by 20% and increase her CR by 50%. So pretty strong. Debuffs are always nice. The decreased buff duration is very nice as well. And just getting that extra CR push is very cool because you can activate your S2 faster, and also because you can even stun. So I think this unit is not going to be as crazy as ELVIRA and like meta changing as, you know, this unit because of her S2. But I think Dragon King SHARUN still will be a very niche unit, pretty powerful, and I think she's going to be a very good counter pick into stuns and sleeps. I think both these units were kind of made to counter certain meta units. Dragon King SHARUN mostly for Death Dealer Ray and sort of for SC Arrowell, not really. It kind of is though because of the stun from SC Arrowell's S3, and also because Cascade goes past the Escort, and ELVIRA for Navy Captain Landy and Abyssal Euphine. So yeah, let me know which of these units you're most likely going to pull for. I'm going to pull for both because I think both of these units are pretty powerful, and especially in the current meta, they're kind of very good into the meta units. And the meta units I kind of really hate, so I definitely want a good answer to them. ELVIRA for sure, I hate Abyssal Euphine, and I hate playing against Navy Captain Landy as well. And don't even get me started on Death Dealer Ray, it's just super unfun to play against, so definitely pulling for Dragon King SHARUN as well. So let me know down below what you guys are most excited for, and I'll see you guys next time.